Prepare New South Wales, Person-Centred Emergency Preparedness, or PCEP. Emergency preparedness is a process. In this video, a client demonstrates person-centred emergency preparedness as a planning process. John shares specific worries he has in 3 functional areas. He shares the preparedness actions he has taken and his current stage of self-advocacy as he furthers his preparedness plans in collaboration with his disability support provider.
The next layer of this tool is for people to go, okay, you've got things organized and you've got lots of support equipment, people. Given that context, now think about the what ifs. So if there was an emergency of some kind, whether it was something that made you have to leave your house, like a bushfire came, and we know that with bushfires the general rule is evacuate.
Yes.
We have to begin to think about, okay, where would we go? What would we need to take? Given that you have a great setup here, what's the thinking you need to do for where you might have to land if you had to evacuate? And then the other side, flip side of that scenario is, what if you were stuck at home because there was some storm and the power was out? Do you have the resources and the supplies if you had to hunker down at home for 3 days to a week amount of time and sustain yourself here at home? So those are the kind of 2 scenarios we're asking people to think about when they think again around that circle of their capabilities.
Yes.
I'm John Green. I grew up in this area. Electricity is very important to my situation because virtually everything runs off electricity. My bed, every bit of equipment runs off electricity. It's got to be able to get recharged to work. Your bed goes flat after 12 hours or whatever, so you've got nowhere to sleep or anything, because we have special mattresses and special equipment, and that's the biggest, scariest thing. I am taking steps to ratify that in my own house, to have a generator so I can run my whole room by just a generator and just get fuel, and then if there's a natural disaster happens around the area, then I can go to bed or whatever. I'll sit up in a chair all night, but I just need to get it all rewired, all my room rewired and everything, and that is a pretty big job and pretty expensive. I included that in my plan to make my room self-sufficient with electricity. You hear about floods where the lines are washed out for a week. It might be here in Taree, it could be the infrastructure in Newcastle, or the infrastructure up Armidale or somewhere like that supplies power to us. So I have taken steps in some ways, but I'd like to be a lot more prepared, especially blackouts happen all the time. Floods are very devastating in their own way. We have major floods here.
My name is Steve Lawrence. I'm the Community Engagement Coordinator for New South Wales SES Mid-North Coast region. People need to prepare because all of the research indicates that if communities can develop their own preparedness strategies that are owned and developed by communities, then we're going to get a far better result in terms of how we deal with the increase in extent and the intensity of natural disasters.
It is important to know the emergency numbers and to have that as a backup. If we go a little deeper into the next scenario, it gets a little bit scarier because it's possible that SES or police or ambulance are busy with other emergencies.
Yes.
With this kind of tool, this is the start of a conversation. The idea is to get you thinking about it and have you thinking about it a few days from now, and when you see your daughter or your son next, have a conversation with them about it too.
Yes.
Just so that it sustains the kind of thinking that, what would we do collectively if something were to happen and I couldn't just dial 000, or I couldn't rely on a health service to come and save me because maybe they're stuck behind a flood line, or maybe they're home supporting their families, or something else has happened in their life or situation.
Emergency services simply do not have the resources to be all things to all people and to have an SES boat or a fire truck at every street corner to help people. So we're really trying to move to that state of shared responsibility between the emergency services and the community to deal with these natural disasters and severe weather events as they come along. So people can prepare by following a couple of steps, and the first one of those is for people to know their risk. If you live near river or creek, or indeed in a heavily wooded area, you need to talk to your local council or your emergency services about what your risk is. The second thing that people can do is to make a plan what they will do in the event of a natural disaster, be it flood, fire, storm or tsunami. The third thing that people need to do is to make some preparations to their home and to their business. So that physical, practical things like cleaning gutters, making sure that you have an asset protection zone cleared around your house, doing simple things like having a home emergency kit ready, so if you do lose power or need to evacuate in a hurry, that you have all those essential items that you need with you as you leave. The fourth thing that people need to do is to be aware. Information is king in terms of natural disasters, and we need people to firstly know where to find that information, be it on the internet, be it the Bureau's website, be it emergency services websites, local ABC radio. And so to be able to access that information and to know how to use that information and to heed warnings when they're issued by emergency services. And the last thing that people need to do is to look out for each other, to be aware about checking on your neighbours, your families and friends, to make sure that they've heard the information that you've heard around the developing situation and that they are taking the appropriate steps to make sure that they're safe.
After the very first disaster planning I went to, we all talked about how we could get prescription or get drugs that you need. So if you're evacuated and sent somewhere, but yet you don't grab your prescriptions or don't grab your stuff, then the doctors can't assess what tablets you take. Now on the nice World Wide Web, they have a place where the doctors can upload all your medical history, My Health Record.
My Health Record website, myhealthrecord.gov.au.
So that means if you get evacuated, the doctor could give the okay and another doctor can actually prescribe stuff for you. I didn't realise we actually had to have the paper copies of a prescription. So we just leave our prescriptions at the chemist. And the chemist just keeps filling prescriptions. And that's the normal way of people who's on tablets and on drugs all the time. But if your chemist goes underwater or you can't access them, then you're in a lot of strife. We have only really one door access. Both doors go past the kitchen, and if a fire breaks out, it's either usually around the kitchen or where there's all electrical equipment. Me and my case manager has been talking about an access door out of my bedroom to get me out after the problem if fire starts in the house.
I'm afraid I haven't got a plan, and sometimes I've wondered myself, if there was a bushfire, who should I ring? I need to have in my head the number of these people, these good neighbours who are 2 doors up. They are just middle-aged and healthy. I can't rely on my good friends because they're all getting old. I've got very good neighbours on this side, but the ladies are 88 and the man gentleman's 91, so I cannot call on them.
The extent of preparedness with those people that do have health issues or people with a disability, and indeed as we move through, we're seeing an ageing of the demographic in this area, particularly on the mid-north coast. We're seeing an increase in people who are living in individual or sole households. So again, it's really, really important that we have this collaborative approach around a common problem that affects all people.
In the next video, project leader Dr. Michelle Villeneuve explains the key features of the person-centered emergency preparedness process tool and framework, and shares what we learned from field testing this tool together with service providers and their clients. The Prepare New South Wales project received funding from the New South Wales Community Resilience and Innovation Programme, a programme funded under the Joint State and Commonwealth Natural Disaster Resilience Programme. For more information, visit www.collaboratingnumber4inclusion.org/prepare-NSW/. The University of Sydney logo is displayed.